One Shot Once.
This is DRIVEBY, and you're listening to Cabbages Hip Hop.
Gary, we're getting close to the big one, bud. 420.
It's a big day. We're recording
Day
this.
for joyous celebration.
We are not releasing this on 420. Obviously, it's a Saturday, and we will be busy.
Yeah, shit to do.
So it'll come out afterwards, which makes sense. We have
Yeah, in like May.
Yeah. It comes out in May.
It comes out in May. Screw you guys.
You're getting this shit for free.
Yeah,
What the
no,
fuck do you care?
What are
anyway?
you gonna do to me?
Why are you gonna hassle me? What are you gonna come back?
What the fuck is all this?
Podcast did come out on 420. Who gives a shit?
Fuck out of here.
Yes, fuck out of here. Sorry. If you need something to do on 420, might we recommend watching a little film called How High?
Oh, I couldn't recommend it enough.
That's what we did.
Excellent fun.
And that's what we did for this show. I'm not going to spend a lot of time explaining this movie to you. If you are listening to this or if you are watching this, you know Meth and Red. You know How High. You have seen this movie. You are familiar with their music. You are not coming onto this unaware.
For the purposes of enjoyment, I feel like I should explain that during my most recent viewing, I kind of transcended space and time by setting up a rule that every time Red and Meth smoked together, I would smoke a bong hit. And it's pretty much the whole movie. That's like all they do together is smoke weed.
I was a little alarmed.
It was a terrible idea.
I was alarmed to see you start this conversation today by hitting that. I'm like, maybe you've had enough, sir.
But it's how the movie started. I did it for the sake of continuity.
You've seen it. You know it. Let's get into it. We've got two great guests coming on to talk with us about it. Let's dive into our conversation. Thanks for being a Cabbages listener, viewer.
Yeah.
Enjoy. I'm very happy to introduce our guests for today's show. Joining us now are DRIVEBY and OneShotOnce, two hip-hop artists from New Jersey you need to know about. The former is a producer who has worked with the likes of Akai Solo and Fatboy Sharif, while the latter is a rapper who collabed last year with Roper Williams on the joint album Hatched Caviar. Together, these Garden State representatives recently dropped a solid project called Six Wheel Drive for the Fused Arrow record label. That's Still Tip Dove for those of you in the know. And you can get that on Bandcamp or wherever music is streamed or sold. Hello and welcome to you both.
Hey, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us, man.
Buy the record, yo. It's dope.
Yeah. Look, it's a great record. It's like 14 minutes long, so it's like easy to digest, easy for repeat, and it's a great project. Obviously, I've heard both of you guys separately on different projects, and like you guys are all kind of part of the same circles. It was great to kind of have this like document with you guys together. Obviously, with someone like Steel Tip Dove, kind of there on the mixing side of things, on the engineering side of things, to be part of this too. It's a great combination. It results in a really good record. And I think it's a great opportunity for people to kind of continue to see what's happening with you guys. And so when we were thinking about this episode and what would work, we always try to find a good movie or the right movie for the right guests. So we needed to represent New Jersey. And so we looked into the vast filmography of Redman and found
the one movie.
We found the one movie. It's called How High. And that's what we watched. We watched How High.
We did watch How High.
Yeah,
that works.
So before we talk about the movie itself, I'd love to get you, obviously, as New Jersey residents, I'd love to get your perspective. What's your relationship like with him and his music?
Yeah, I've always been a fan of Redman, like Muddy Waters and shit like that, and the features he's done. I've always appreciated his like really like nasty rap styles, like just like not just like what he says, like just like his style of like flow and stuff.
Yeah, his delivery was always crazy.
Like if you want to talk about like a perfect like Jersey like rap style, I feel like Redman's up there when it comes to like just like putting words together in a nasty like tones or like nasty like rhyme scheme. Like he represents that dirty Jersey kind of flow.
his early stuff, that era, it, like really reminds me of like old school Jersey, like when it was like super grimy everywhere you went. You
Yeah,
know, so it was Redman is definitely like something that we fuck with heavy.
definitely. Like anytime I also think of Redman, I think of Tame One as well. So
Sure.
it's they both
Absolutely.
they both kind of share that similar like gritty, nasty, grimy like rap style. So yeah, definitely got respect for those guys.
I fucking love Redman. I love Redman so much. I think
That's fire.
North Carolina, not the like Eastern North Carolina, not a hotbed for finding a lot of rap. I came to Redman through Wu-Tang.
Okay.
And their like remarkable sort of usage of rappers outside of the Wu-Tang family. Blackout is just like tip motherfucking top for your boy. I
Yeah.
absolutely love that record. So I went to a ton of rap shows last year. It was the 50th anniversary. Happy birthday, hip hop.
Happy birthday.
And I went and I had to leave early for another show. And they were just like revolving this stage, and like another rapper would come out from behind the stage over and over again.
That's pretty cool.
And so we're about to leave. I'm like, look, I don't have any more time. I got to get to this other show for work. I got to get out of here. And they turn the stage as I'm walking off, and out come Redman and Method Man together. And I
Yeah.
was like, fuck that show. I'm not going anywhere. I'll be here until those dudes are done. That's all there is to it.
Oh, that's amazing.
They're the best. Like that was
That's
the most delightful thing I've seen in years. I love them so much.
I saw them live last year. They did the it was the 50th anniversary for hip hop. Happy birthday, hip hop.
Happy
birthday,
birthday,
hip hop.
Pop.
It was the one where they did in Madison Square Garden.
Mm-hmm.
It was like with Wu-Tang, Mary J, and like
Yeah,
all these
yeah.
people.
Wait, you went to that?
Yeah, me and my girl went to that.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
It was
It was so fun, right? All of those shows were incredible. The 50th anniversary was so good.
yeah, like we saw that and like they had the whole Wu-Tang squad came out, Redman, Young Dirty Bastard came out too.
Oh,
Oh,
shit,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it was fun.
He's a trip
Was he like performing?
He was performing ODB's
as ODB, yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, they show him mad love for that. So they were doing that. Fucking Sean Paul was there.
I love it.
Yeah, they you know who was there too? He didn't perform? Maxwell. And they had him on there as a performer.
Oh, that's funny. He just showed up.
Yeah, he just came up to introduce somebody else.
You
I
think he
love it
got
when they do
there?
that, actually.
He just got there. He's like, I'm not interested. I'll just introduce somebody. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm
They
not up
had
for it.
the
No,
one
I
I went
know.
to, they had DJ Red Alert on it, and they were like, DJ Red Alert. And he comes out and he's like, do you love hip hop? And we're like, yeah, we love hip hop. He's like, all right, cool. Rock him. Like, thank you, Red Alert.
Perfect.
I thought he was gonna
Perfect.
spin records. Just nah. It's all
Oh,
Rakim today.
No,
No,
no.
but they had some good people on the show. EPMD was on there too. So
Yeah,
we got to see them perform. That was fun.
that's
And fucking who else was there? I can't even remember. Tyrese did the same thing.
That's a big show.
But he did the same thing as Maxwell. He introduced someone else.
I see these lineups, they do these festivals now or these shows. They say like all these artists are going to be there. And then you like find out, like you read online later, it's like about like 60% of those artists showed up. Or like maybe the artist did like 2 songs or whatever. And they're like, okay, well, that was definitely like not the dream lineup. I look at these and I go like, oh, wait, there's like 60 artists on this bill and it's one day. When is this going to actually be?
we're gonna do about 10 of those are gonna be performers.
Exactly. That's why I don't fuck with Rolling Loud. I mean, they announce these big shows, big headliners, and then it's just like, all right, good luck. See,
Yeah.
maybe it'll work out for
Thanks
you.
Thanks for the cash, bros.
But like Meth and Red have like reliably been out there performing together in a duo, even with like I've seen the Wu-Tang live before, and like it's great to see them live. But there's something about that, even when the Wu hasn't been able to kind of get their shit together and get everybody on the same page, that Meth and Red have kind of just consistently continued to be that duo. And I think that for me, How High was sort of when I realized, not even in the music, but in that movie, I realized, oh, these two people actually are friends in real life. These are actually
Yeah,
people
yeah,
who
Their
fuck with each
dynamic
other.
is crazy.
yeah. Like they're like super homies. Like I think Method like introduced Wu-Tang to Redman, and they were like he would like how did he find out about him again? I forgot about that.
I don't remember the origin story with them at all.
It was
But I know Staten and Jersey ain't too far from each other, so
Fair.
yeah.
but it was something I forgot who it was. It might have been Raekwon trying to clown him or something like that, and Method was like, "Nah, this dude's nice," and like
Is that what it was?
yeah, it was something like I don't want to like say that's like factual, but like one of the Wu-Tang members was trying to like clown Redman for it, and like and Method was like, "Nah, bro, this dude's nice," like, and that's how like they clicked and stuff like that.
My earliest memory of Red and Meth is remember MTV Cribs?
Sure.
Yeah,
I was
that's
really hoping this would come up.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
super
For sure.
classic, bro. Like that was my favorite episode, hands down.
That's
Oh,
actually
it's
the
not
most-
even close.
That's actually the most honest episode.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Like I
Yeah.
loved it. Like
Because
it was perfect.
everybody's episodes on rented mansions and rented cars.
Like wasn't
Yeah,
like
or like they flew in stuff that's not normally in their house to like look more baller. And he was like,
It was always bullshit.
there's a
All those
dude
things.
laying on the floor asleep. His cousin's just sleeping on the floor. They're like, nah, just walk around him.
Yeah.
And they did a part 2 to his house. They did like a revisit to his
no
house.
way. I never
Yeah.
saw that one.
It's great.
It looked a little bit better. He fixed the door. He got
Some
the sun down.
improvements.
Some upgrades.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we came at that like, I mean, we were all so naive back then about what reality TV was. We thought everything we
true.
were seeing on there is real, and like we thought, okay, well, this is the lifestyle these guys talk about, so it makes sense. So when Redman does that, you're like, oh, that's some grimy shit. All right,
Yeah.
That's real
like
grimy.
that's like all right. The guy we know from Dare's the Dark Side, Muddy Waters, like this is the guy, no question.
Mhm.
You know, but it also showed that he's fucking funny, not just on record, but he's funny.
Hilarious, bro.
And so this movie, obviously, you know, he doesn't have, you know, we joked before about his filmography. He's done a few things over the years, but like, I'm talking about like, you can count on one hand how many films he's been in where he wasn't playing himself, like actually playing Redman in a cameo. Like he's not somebody who's done a lot of this stuff, but like right out the gate, he is immediately comedically engaging before
Yes.
even the two of them come together. When we first meet his character in this film, getting yelled at by his mama, which
Yeah.
Yo, we gotta think about that scene. Yo, I don't know if you noticed it, but the newspaper was this long. Like it was like
I told him that. I was like, yo, you gotta run that back. I'm like, the newspaper is like half the size of his body.
yo, that newspaper was ridiculous.
Why? Why was it? Did they make a fake newspaper? What the hell?
I
I
don't
don't
know
know.
the story behind that, but that is hilarious. It looks like a newspaper. I'm pretty sure it's a rolled up newspaper.
Yeah, but it's like at least 5 feet long. It's crazy.
Yeah.
and like the fact that they cram so much into that. The fact that that's a sight gag that's in there, that you're already like you're meeting these characters for the first time and you're getting a sense of who they are. I love the fact that it's the same mom from Friday. That makes me so happy just to kind of have that be like part of the whole cinematic universe.
Like alternate universe.
Exactly. Like I want to believe, okay, if you want to go into like Marvel Comics multiverse theory, like that's how that works for me. It's
Her purpose in the multiverse is to raise rappers. That's what that's like every version of her is just dealing with a different rapper.
Yeah, like
I can see that. That's very
because
true.
the movie was based in Staten, right? So that would be like the Staten Island version of her.
Mhm.
yeah, it's like that's the variant. That's the variant.
Oh yeah, East Coast and West Coast.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, totally makes sense to me.
Her
Absolutely makes
parenting
sense to me.
style it was wildly effective because he like could not stop seeing his mom being like, you're being an idiot.
Oh yeah,
Stop
yeah,
being
she-
an idiot.
He
in
was
the
on the cruise.
sky.
Yeah, when he was on the the crew boat.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
crew boat, but also when he's in class and starts like humping
Oh,
the
that's
desk or
right.
humping the table in the front.
Oh,
I didn't
And
realize
there's this thing that happens in this
twice.
film
She was
a
dressed
couple
up.
of times that I love to death, where someone does something embarrassing, like Method Red does something embarrassing, and they're like,
Usually red.
Julia. They just walk away. It's like, I'm not gonna answer to this. I'm not gonna like take any questions at this time. Have a wonderful day.
The best scene with his mom, with Red's mom, she's not in. And it's when he is macking on Jamie, the vice president's daughter,
Mm.
and she asks him if he's ever done something,
Oh,
he's ever slapped his mama. And he's like, no, absolutely not. It's like the very fucking idea.
Hell no.
Like
No.
he cleans right. He's like, whoa, no, whoa, 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 whoa. She can hear you.
It's like, I mean, she shows up in the sky later, so he knew
Yeah.
He
not
knows.
to shit
He
talk,
knows.
not to shit talk his mom. We get the two introductory scenes. The other one being Method Man being this weed dealer slash mad scientist,
Botanist. Yeah.
botanist,
Mad
But, like,
botanist.
yeah, which is just another wonderful introduction. Like you establish these characters right away, exactly who they are before you put them together, and it's perfect in the sense that most comedies do struggle with that sort of like laying the groundwork of who these characters are in a short enough period of time, because comedies are generally like 90 100 minutes. These days everyone tries to make these movies longer, but like truly the best comedies are like
Quick and dirty.
105 minutes long. Like that's it.
Yeah.
And if you can't let people know who these people are right away, then you have to spend a lot of time showing, like, especially if there's going to be any sort of arc of growth, which obviously does not happen in this film. There is no growth. These people remain who they are from start to finish, which is lovely because they were perfect to us. Why should they change?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Real. One of my favorite things about the introduction of Method Man is that he has a customer come to the door.
Which one?
The first one, the guy that's looking for help, the Jamaican gentleman who's looking for help with his erectile dysfunction.
Yes.
And
Or as the canister said,
that's what I'm going to get to, is that he walks over and there's no names of the weed at all. He knows that by heart. But what he has as the labels to each weed is something it cures for some reason. So he walks over, finds his like erectile dysfunction, and is like, here you go, bud.
limp dick is what it
Limp
says.
dick, that's what it says. Which sounds very similar to the names of weed, like really dumb. I love dumb weed names, and that would be a good one.
Be a
What are
great
you
yeah,
smoking?
yeah.
Smoking limp dick.
Off the charts.
Smoking limp dick.
I'm off on that limp dick.
You know what's the worst weed name I think I've ever heard? Dog shit. That's an
my
actual
God.
Oh,
No, they called it dog shit.
It's I swear to God, you look it up. It might even
That's
be an
crazy.
OG now. Dog shit OG. Like it's an actual strain.
That's
I never smoked it.
That
but
hurts.
I was gonna ask.
Because like you remember back in the day when it's like, hey, what are you smoking on, man? And when strains first started coming out, it'd be like smoking that sour, man. It's like,
Yeah.
you smoking that dog shit.
Right.
Crazy.
It's not a fun name for weed.
No.
You know what you should name dog shit? Dog shit. It's got its own, there's really no need.
it already had,
Oh my
summed
God.
up perfectly.
It's on Leafly.
I told you, it's right there.
It's got 4.2 stars.
That's terrible.
Oh my God.
That's out
I
of
don't-
5, guys.
You can't trust Leafly scores anyway. Like, let's be honest here. There is dog shit right there on
Dog shit.
screen.
I'll be damned.
4.2 stars. We'll have to see.
4.20 stars?
That shit must be
4
fine.
Ah.
I don't know. I'm gonna stick with sour for tonight. That's just me.
I have no idea what weed I'm smoking. I need some.
Well, there you go. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead out on a limb and just assume that both of you, like us, had seen this movie before. Yes, this was not your first viewing.
No, this is like my probably 100th viewing or something.
Watched it a lot when we were young.
You know what's wild? I've seen this movie like 150 times, I feel like. And every single time there's like 3 or 4 things where I'm like, oh my God, I totally forgot they like smoke a dead president, an actual dead president. They, like grind up the bones of a dead president and smoke it at Harvard. I totally forgot about it.
He's like, you ever smoked a finger?
Yeah. I felt so bad for that dude. They put it.
Yeah, that little kid, they put him through mad hell.
Oh yeah.
What was really fucked up about that in particular, like the way they bully that kid throughout the film, obviously is great, but you feel bad for him at some level. But like, what's great about that particular scene where you've just watched them put John Quincy Adams's hand in a blender
on his back.
He's been carrying him, and then he gets a hand in a blender. So like that whole shit happens out there. But now he's back on the couch, and they're making him smoke the finger.
Right.
He has no reason.
He's the king's tester.
The idea is that what he's doing fine academically. He's trying to get into a frat. He does not need the assistance of our second president or third president. Who's John Quincy Adams? Which one?
It would be sixth.
Sixth?
Yeah.
This is why I'm not on Jeopardy. This is why I host a podcast.
If I'm wrong, that's going to seem really funny. But
whatever.
He's the sixth. Yeah, he's right.
Wow.
All right.
That's a good guess.
I got to study.
It wasn't a guy I actually knew.
I got to study my diner placemats a little bit more. I'll go back.
Listen, I went to a high school that was very into America. And I had to memorize that shit, and I could still do it up to about like 10, maybe 10. I can't do it anymore, but I remember the first 6 because that's when you start over, you come right back to this first 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So I memorized those.
This is a pretty presidential movie, by the way. Obviously, we've got we have a vice president. We have a vice presidential candidate right there.
That's
right.
I forgot when Jeff talks about things that we forget about these movies that we've seen dozens and dozens of times. I forgot that guy's in this movie, and we're really not supposed to watch movies with him in it anymore.
He real bad.
Oh he got canceled?
Legit canceled. Like
less canceled than.
You're talking about the principal from fucking Ferris Bueller?
Yeah.
Yes.
No way. What did he get canceled for?
He didn't really. It's not canceled per se. He was jailed.
Right. Yes.
This wasn't like the internet was like, this was a bad man.
No.
The authorities found out that he was a bad man and put him away forever. Pedo, I want to say it was.
It was. I don't know if it was
pedo.
It was. They found stuff on his computer.
Yeah.
He's a hard drive guy.
So it's why you don't see him in movies anymore.
No.
He's crazy.
He
had because he had that moment where he was doing a lot of stuff like in the kind of late 90s and early 2000s. You've got like this movie, obviously. You've got Who's Your Caddy with Big Boy. He's in The Devil's Advocate. Keanu Reeves.
Ferris Bueller. Not watching Ferris Bueller is almost un-American.
Yeah. So it's like it's a hard one.
It's on all the time, everywhere.
That's true.
But there's still some crazy cameos in this that even though I knew they were coming, it's just exciting to see. The Spalding Gray as the African American Studies professor is just like,
he's out of pocket.
What a performance.
Like this is a man who was like true public intellectual, given these amazing speeches. Like IRL he was that fucking guy. And then this scene is just like, it is wild.
It's outlandish.
Wild what he is saying. Especially when he berates the 2 fucking Ivy dressed dudes in front. Why don't you walk out with your brother?
And they're both looking at him like, what the fuck? Just teach, dude. What is wrong with you? Please leave us alone.
He was like, you look like Whitey. He said that to them.
Oh man. What a line.
Yeah, that's so much.
You can't say that shit now. They would burn the film.
No, but this is where this film exists in that world. Were there things that you guys, now obviously having seen this many times before, but like us, were there parts of this film that you forgot about or that were freshly reminded or delighted by on this umpteenth viewing of it?
Mine would have to be All right, you know the scene where he's with the women's studies class.
Yes.
Where his face is
Mhm.
out.
Yeah, and he's like, and like his mom appears like, "What are you doing?" and shit.
Yeah.
The teacher, I didn't realize that she was in there. She's like a big porn star from like the Cinemax world.
Oh yeah, because the teacher like turns into his fantasy, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay, yeah.
I was like, damn, I was like, damn, they got this porn star in here. I was like, that's crazy. She was like big, like on the Skinemax like era,
Hmm.
In that days, yeah.
like she
I
used to
felt
like, she used to be like the host and tell the stories.
I totally forgot.
Oh, huh.
Oh, okay.
I know who
'Cause
you're talking about.
I guess the thing for me was
I
like
think.
these people show up in this movie and you're like, I forget that these people were here. Like Judah
Yes.
Friedlander shows up briefly in a scene where he encounters the bike guy. And it's like I've been rewatching 30 Rock like for like the third time, and I'm like, all right, here we go. Like, so he shows up like, oh shit, he's in this movie. Like, there's just so many people who show up.
He's
But
great in it too.
the best cameos and the ones that I forgot about,
Okay.
it's speaking of 30 Rock, it's Tracy Morgan.
Yeah.
Oh
Yes!
my God.
Oh shit, he's in the beginning.
You're
The what is it? The canned pork?
yeah, I
Pork
totally forgot he
chops,
was there.
oh chunky.
Pork chops, oh chunky.
That was so terrible.
Creamed,
Oh,
essentially what I believe it to be is
Mm.
creamed pork chops
yeah.
in
I
a
don't know
can.
what it is, but I hate they're like holding up the spoon in the commercial and it's like dripping. Oh, it looks so nasty.
It looks awful. And then he's also in a very weird, like, so the kid who ends up dying in the beginning, which by the way, that death was like oddly
Ivory?
realistic.
Ivory's death
Yeah,
was
Ivory.
harsh.
It was really harsh. They set that motherfucker on fire and
That was
threw
like
him out of the
Final
building.
Destination.
Then they hit him with a bus later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God damn, what did he do to y'all?
He
What
predicted
was wrong
that
with
shit.
Ivory? He did. What was I talking about?
You're talking about Ivory after that woman sees him with the dreads and this strange unibrow growth.
Oh man,
The Buddhist
She
monk.
she
leaves.
roasts him.
And so he then depressed continues to do what he was going to do with her, which is watch Kevin Costner movies. That's supposed to be Fields of Dreams.
Field of
Tracy
Dreams,
Morgan.
and Tracy Morgan is in it
Pops up again.
because I guess he's smoking some sort of weed that
Yes.
makes him hallucinate just a touch, and he's seeing Tracy Morgan essentially roast Field of Dreams.
Yeah, because Meth did say that he was like Kevin Costner. He was like, that motherfucker's boring. He was like, you're gonna need something strong.
Yeah, you're going to need something. He
Yes.
said, "I want something from the Garden of Whedon that'll make it
Yes.
more interesting."
Yes.
Yeah.
And
That's what
I
I said.
assume that whatever canister Method Man had, it was the hallucinations canister.
I didn't put that together till just now. That's amazing. That's so,
So
cool.
it's like
This movie actually, like with close study, is really clever and funny
yeah.
and cool. I love this movie.
Yeah, they had
I love How High.
they had like that girl that runs out on him.
Hmm.
I noticed her. We were watching her last night. I was like, bro, she's in 40-Year-Old Virgin and she's in Superbad. And
Oh,
Superbad when McLovin gets punched and she's like the cash register, the cashier.
oh no way! That's awesome.
Yeah.
She's
And then
great in that.
40-Year-Old Virgin, she's the one that was like, "Is this your book? I found your book."
What a cool career in a way.
yeah, you get to have those things as your credits on there. It's really unique in this respect that stoner comedies as a genre gets like shit on all the time. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, it's not particularly serious.
This movie got shit on. Like people didn't
And
like this movie.
Well, this is one of the beautiful things. 25% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Damn.
Nobody should be surprised that critics did not love this.
They did not respond well to
79
smoking a dead president.
79% audience score.
Oh, damn.
That's
Oh,
one of the
People.
highest like shifts between the two I've ever heard of.
It's like that and Honey, which we watched on a previous episode, had the same sort of phenomenon where this is a
So it was
movie-
like 19% or something, and it's like 70% of the audience was
Yeah.
like, actually, it's pretty sick.
exactly.
They dance around. She's hot. I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah.
No, I remember.
Community center's in trouble.
Love her.
That was Jessica Alba, right?
Yeah, everybody was in love with her.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Jessica Alba, Mekhi Phifer, It's got a little Bow Wow in it.
Little Romeo.
I saw a little Romeo in it.
Yes.
I was looking at like Mike the other day. We got a little Romeo in it. Like it's not for bad
We're not
movies that
doing
are
that
good.
with Like Mike. We're not doing Like Mike.
All right, look, I saw Like Mike at a drive-in, so I mean,
I know.
we could do that movie.
I'm not into it.
I think it was like Mike, and then they showed Signs. You remember the M. Night Shyamalan movie?
Damn.
Signs. I
That's-
remember
that's
watching
hard.
that shit. That shit was ridiculous. When
Signs
when the
was-
alien
That's a-
popped out the first
Yeah.
time, that shit was crazy.
That is a spoiler alert. That is a
My bad.
Oh yeah,
terrible-
I'm sorry you haven't watched Signs yet.
that's a
20
terrible
fucking years.
twosome. No, I watched it.
Everybody.
That's a terrible twosome, man. I'm sorry that you did that to yourself.
Yeah, that's a weird back to back, right?
For real.
It was a fucking drive-in, and they show you a double feature. You park your car. I was somewhere in Massachusetts.
I guess they were just out at the same time then.
I think what it was. Like,
Yeah,
I think it
okay.
was the idea is
That makes more
show the
sense.
family. You show the family movie first for the young people, and they can go home, and the rest of us can watch the R-rated movie or whatever. I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I feel like this movie, How High had an audience. It had its audience very naturally. The fact we've all watched it. This rarely happens on the show where we talk to people and everybody's seen the movie more
Yeah.
than once. It had its audience, and clearly, it was not like the people who wrote critical reviews for newspapers in 2001. Like that wasn't the people who do
Right.
that. But this is a movie that
Remember
had like
critical reviews.
yeah, whatever those about. my fucking career. Anyway, now I podcast and smoke weed. This is what we do. But like, you have a $20 million movie budget wise, which is what How High was. It does 31 at the box office. Respectable, but not crazy. But you and I all know. But you and I all know that's like even that movie like basically say okay that and it makes its budget back and maybe it makes a little bit of money after marketing funds. You know that on DVD and Blu-ray for years to come, rental at your Blockbuster, and then even into when Netflix was still doing disc in the mail, that had to be one of the most popular fucking movies that could have come through.
That is that I can see that for sure. That and that Cat Baked or something like that.
Me personally, I feel like part of stoner culture is watching movies. Sitting around smoking, watching. Either funny, like mainly funny shit, because that's always.
I mean, that's where we're in the mood to laugh.
Yeah. So it's like when you have a movie that's not only funny, but it's also a weed movie. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, we're gonna watch this shit.
We watch stoners straight up watch like
do the whole nine.
Horrible movies, and are like, it's actually great. We did a whole season on here that was like good bad movies. And then we did a whole season of stoner movies too. And we've watched some of the worst movies of all time. And because specifically before this legalized era, you really only watched it to be like, there are others like me. This movie sucks, but they're smoking so much weed. And at some point, if you try to match them, you end up as high as the movie. Now, I speak from experience because during one of our viewings this time around, I decided that every time Meth and Red were sharing an apparatus to smoke weed, I would take a bong hit.
Oh, that's hard.
It was really hard. I don't know how many I took. I truly have zero. I mean, I have a clue. I know it's in the double digits.
You blacked out.
That's a good game.
I try to do that with certain movies. This one I thought would be really fun. I thought we made enough rules to keep it from being an issue. But I'm gonna tell you, they smoke weed in every scene of this fucking movie. It's insane how much weed and how often they find each other. Remember, none of the relationships forged in this movie were long-term relationships except one. Method Man and Redman didn't know each other before the movie started.
No.
None of the roommates knew each other before the movie started. Now the teachers, none of it. So the only relationship that is long-term is Redman and I Need Money.
Oh,
They're the two only real friends in this whole thing.
Yo, I love the scene when they're chopping up the. Were they chopping up the dead president, or were they making the brownies? And he's stealing the milk.
It's
egg.
the brownies. He's stealing the brownie ingredients as they're making
a single egg.
Yeah. He's like, "What are you doing?"
And it's like open milk. It's like milk that's been out and open for a while. He's just like, "That's mine." He's like, "No, you're not supposed to steal from us."
Yeah, that's one of my favorite line deliveries in the whole movie is Meth saying that. He says, "You don't steal from us."
From us.
It's like you have free reign. You're at Harvard. You can steal from all these rich kids.
Right?
Why are you taking our eggs and milk?
Egg.
We
didn't even have an egg backup.
And then it goes back to like when they were like, okay, they're gonna get kicked out of school. It's like you go back to stripping at that place. It's like, wait, I Need Money was a stripper and Redman was his manager. That's a piece of backstory that I did not expect.
That we never got. That How High 2 wasn't just him and I Need Money, like a spin-off episode essentially of those two together is crazy talk. Because they were awesome.
They were.
The tragedy that there is that How High 2 is only tenuously related to this movie is a shame. We did How High 2 on another episode.
Like it.
We like that movie. I'm going on record.
You guys like it?
Well, I like that movie quite a bit. I watch it every 420 actually.
Yo, I watched it.
It's what I fall asleep to every 420.
I watched it. I was watching and I was like, yo, this doesn't hit like the first one.
No, it doesn't. No. Of course not.
No. You gotta treat it. You got to treat it like a different movie.
It is a different movie.
That's not in the same franchise. You
can't treat it like except one critical point.
Two
baby powder.
Two critical points.
Baby powder's in that motherfucker.
Two critical points. One, baby powder, who we're about to talk about, and two, I Need Money does show up. However, he shows up as I Got Money. That's the difference.
That's true.
That's a good spoiler. Now I want to watch it.
So I'm just saying,
it's fun if you watch it right after you watch How High. There's a number of really weird little callbacks to the first movie. There's a lot of Easter eggs. Like you'll notice that when they first pull up to the college to try and find, I think maybe either weed or whatever they're looking for, they run through the college's front sign in the lawn, just like they did at Harvard. Which I like. Both of us were like, "Oh shit!" because we watched them back to back, just because why not?
Yeah.
See now I gotta do it because I remember I watched like the first 20 minutes and I was like, "Nah, this don't hit the same," and I just turned it off.
It certainly isn't its predecessor, for sure. No. And I wish that they just called it something else.
That's all they had to do.
If they would have did that, maybe people would got like a better like review or something like that.
Yeah, like calling it How High 2 and then not having it be part of that universe essentially is kind of weird.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, because even Baby Powder, when he shows up in How High 2, he's a hallucination.
Right, he's not real.
He's not. It's not the actual Baby Powder who shows up in How High 2. And, I gotta say, with respect to Day Day and respect to Uncle Buck, Baby Powder might be Mike Epps' best character. My favorite of his, for sure.
It's so good.
Baby Powder is up there. Day Day's up there too.
My favorite thing is not a near.
You do the best not a near.
I love when you say that.
I still don't know what it means.
Yeah.
Who is his assistant pimp? I forget the guy's name.
Baby Wipe.
Baby Wipe. That's right. They're like
the
magic together.
Pimp.
They're absolute magic together. I don't know who that actor is. I feel like I saw him in some other stuff.
I know he was on like he was a comedian. I think I remember him off of Bad Boys of Comedy or something like that.
Yeah, or
let me
the late night comedy shows on BET. I'm sure I saw him there. I'm like almost positive.
He's
his name was
Scruncho. Anthony B. McKinley. Scruncho was the name he would go around being called.
Scruncho.
Scruncho.
Doesn't ring a bell on that.
Wait, did you guys know that? He said that the dude's name in the movie was Baby White.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So
I didn't know that. That's hilarious.
His name's Anthony McKinley.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he
AKA
was
Scruncho.
Yeah, he's in I Got the Hookup, Bud's House, for the Love of Money. Yeah, he's in
I Got the Hookup. That's where I remember him for sure.
Okay, there you go. He's also he's got some of that. He got like Knockout Kings of Comedy is
But like
recent.
all those dudes were
That's
on
where I
Comic
really
View
from.
at some point.
Exactly.
Every last one of those motherfuckers was on Comic View at some point. That
Oh,
shit
for
went
sure.
on forever. It felt like
For sure.
Yo, but
Oh, he's in the Watermelon Heist. Oh my god, he's been in some films.
yeah.
Jesus.
But my favorite part with Baby Powder is the blooper at the end.
Oh yeah,
Where
it
he-
should have just been in the film. It was genius.
I know he was teaching the class and everything.
Yeah,
And then he gets pissed off that all of them slap each other.
Not yourselves.
Mhm.
I really like because they cut out that part of their story where they show up at the party.
right.
The second party, they show up at the fancy party with the vice president. Like
Yeah.
the whole scene with Fred Willard, again, another delight in this film. Rest in peace, Fred Willard, comedy fucking genius. Him basically being like, saying that he uses their dial-a-ho service.
Yeah.
I fucking
Well, he
lost
admits it
it.
like off the cuff. He's just like yells it in
Remember,
front of everybody.
well, there's a reason for that, Jeff. Remember that Method Man has put the truth serum weed into
Yeah.
the fireplace.
Right.
Which is
Oh,
very
yeah.
so forthcoming. Everybody
It-
feels that
It's
way
easy to
because of that.
forget because the dialogue is so off the fucking rails the entire time that you're like, oh right, they're doing this because of a thing. There's an actual plot here. I think I'm just so high every time I see it that I come back to it and it's like a new movie. I don't remember any of it.
It's
Truly,
it has so many unique beats to it. And I think to me, on this most recent round of watching this, I
Mhm.
sort of looked at it. I said, like, this is very much in terms of like how it's written, how it's constructed, how it's put together, how it's edited. Like this is like Animal House
yeah.
and like Porky's put together.
Yeah.
Those stories, those kind of classic, kind of 1980s seminal sort of comedies. And it's like a lot of times where I think we're like people who look back to those movies and try to make new things like it fuck up is that they're either trying to do a joke version of it, like a parody of this thing. They're trying to accentuate that. And I think what Meth and Red brought to the table, because I know obviously there's a screenwriter credited on this film. He doesn't have a lot of credits. But this is very much feels like riffing on the part of these two people of Meth and Red IRL. I think that they took this sort of plot and structure and built the best jokes they could within that. And that's why it feels so good each time I watch it. Whereas there's other films where you're like, wait for it to be funny, wait for something to happen. But you were right away laughing at these people.
Around the corner.
Yeah.
Mm.
The jokes are stacked on top of each other. The pranks are like any good college joke movie, like the pranks that are pulled, whether it's the weed brownies that makes Dean Cain.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's my favorite scene in the whole movie when he's like
He gets out of character.
he's like we gonna remind the dean that he was once black. and they got he's so out of pocket.
Bro, when he walks into the party and he's like, oh, your wife, I barely recognize her. And he's like, bitch is fine, ain't she? That shit took me off, bro, dude.
And then he fucking dances to Flashlight. Like that's
Well,
just
first and
like,
foremost,
That's when he's bored as fuck. He's like, man, I'm fucking bored.
Yeah.
First and foremost, Fred Willard at being told that she's a fine ass bitch goes, excuse me? Just like, he like is never rattled. You know what I mean? Like his off the cuff game is so strong
Yeah.
that he usually just goes with the bit in
Yeah.
his like weird jolly giant way. He like goes with the bit. On this, he just fully sells out on his like, excuse me? Like, what? What did you say to me?
one of his best lines in the
good.
film. One of his best lines in the film is, we'll fox with each other. Because
I forgot that we'll fox with each other.
fox with each other.
That's before that's their interview, right? That's when
That's the interview when he's like when he's pitching them on the school. Because the second time of watching it this time around, when I watched this the second time, I put the captions on because I'm like, there's so much being said in this movie that I'm missing. I'm missing shit, and I have to hear it. And Redman's insults in this movie, Method Man's insults in this movie. You have to see these words on screen. You can't just hear them say it. You're missing how good what they're saying is. There's
he-
so much of that.
When he roasts the dean, when Redman goes full fucking cowboy
That
on
was
the dean.
amazing to read on the captions when he was roasting him.
He was
Bro, I
like,
was crying.
He was like Jiminy Cricket.
Truly, like it was just synced directly to my soul.
Yeah.
The things he was saying were like, these are things I find absolutely hilarious. You're getting me
So
every
funny.
line
So
is funny.
You know what's the best part about that part is you see the dean's face, just like it's like it's sweating, but then like the background is hilarious. Like it's like a dark like a fireplace like setting.
I didn't even pick that.
And like his face is lighting up, like they have like a flashlight under his face. It's weird. It's so weird. It just like the whole scene gets dark, and like it almost looks like an evil villain scene. It's weird.
They do something similar with the bicycle cop when he smokes the weed for the first time, and the rainbows start forming around his head while he's smoking it.
First off,
out of that
worst joint ever rolled.
Worst.
Motherfucker,
tape.
Scotch tape.
Scotch tape.
And yo, it wasn't even like
it was like newspaper. It was like a magazine.
It was like straight out of a dictionary or something like that. Like it was so ridiculous. Like,
worst joint ever rolled in life.
terrible.
And it's a testament to how good that weed is, but it's also a reminder that normal people cannot smoke what Meth and Red smoke.
Yes.
Right.
They were functional on that weed. They were taking tests on the ivory weed.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
Obviously, ivory was in their
To
ear.
be fair, a ghost was giving them answers, but you have to like credit where credit's due. They took that test.
I don't know.
Cheating or no cheating.
I don't feel like I would be able to handle it. I'd probably just be sitting there giggling. I'd be giggling.
I would go to a park. Just go to a park and smoke more and try to read and fall asleep. No way. I'm not taking a test on
Yeah, that dude, he went from being like, what is it, the campus liaison to complete 180.
Yeah, like super, like because I remember he becomes like almost schizo, like when he finally like meets Ivory, and then Ivory's talking through him, and like he's like, hey, where'd you get this plant? Like he's like freaking out, like he needs like the plant.
No, my bad. You know what I wonder? The scene where when they're all chilling in the room together.
Okay.
In the dorm together. I remember he's on the couch and then he gets up and freaks out.
The Borg, they're here.
Yeah, that's what he says.
And by the way, that's his exit from the film. That's goodbye.
No, we see him one more time. We see him one more time. He's under the table at the party. At the vice president's
I was so
party.
high by then.
He's hiding under a table.
No,
that's right.
He's one of the first people to hit the Ben Franklin bomb.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he like cries. He's like, "Oh,
can we?"
Yes.
He needed it.
He was like, "Thank God."
Can we just for one moment, just a brief moment?
Oh shit.
Can we discuss the fact that Lark Voorhees, I'm not going to remember her real name, or her name in the movie. Lark Voorhees comes into a scene after having announced to anyone who would listen, which was no one in the film. None of these men were listening to her talk at all. At some point, she's like, I'm on the brink of like a discovery that would make me one of the greatest Harvard discoverers or whatever the fuck it is. Like not like a worldwide thing, like just at Harvard, she would be known as making a great discovery when it comes to Ben Franklin. And when she announces every single time I've seen the movie, when she announces that it's a bong, I'm like, oh, right. They're gonna smoke a fucking chimney right now. That's what's gonna happen. They're all going to do it. The vice president of the United States of America is going to hit the Franklin bomb.
But he didn't inhale. Even that joke was funny in that moment. That joke, everyone's made that joke 1,000 times.
It's funnier now than it was then. I'll give you that.
But it's I laughed
with some space. I feel like this movie gets funnier over time because everything's just so solid and stupid. It's so stupid.
You know, it's one thing we noticed. Well, he noticed it before me. So I remember like all the clothing in the movie, like the
Yeah.
Rockaware and
Yeah.
like the Timberlands and everything like that. I didn't notice that they were wearing a Dada Supremes jersey, Redman.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
And he pointed it out to me. And I was like, oh, that's Dada. And he was like, yeah, nah, that's Dada Supreme. That was
whoa.
I didn't know it was a collab. I didn't know.
Yeah, remember the scene when he's running with crew and they got the oars and then he throws it, he's like taxi. He's
Mhm.
wearing like a brown jersey and that's a Dada jersey, but on the back of it it says Supreme.
I remember seeing it. Yeah, I remember seeing Supreme that. Yeah.
So like I always
Throwback Supreme.
I remember the Dada, but he's the one that pointed out to me that nah, that's a Supreme collab, and I was like, I didn't see that. That fucked my
Like
mind
no,
up.
I don't know. I don't know if it's like official, but I would assume so because Supreme like was super popular since then.
Yeah,
You know what I
since
mean?
like the '90s and the early 2000s. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's around the time they were getting very popular.
Guaranteed that piece of clothing is crumpled up in a gigantic pile of shit on a bedroom floor that hasn't been like swept or cleaned in like 25 years.
I've
Wow.
no, because I'm Dada, like the brand Dada died like in the early 2000s. I remember that.
Yeah.
Like
That thing has been on the bottom of some dirty laundry for like when was this made again?
2001.
Since 2002.
Next to all this unsold Bufu gear.
Oh, Bufu.
Buy us, fuck
Buy
you.
us for us.
Yo, that shit was too much. The Bufu shit.
Bufu is so good.
Yeah, it's like I want to be clear. Like, there's some stuff in this film that did not age well. There's definitely some like homophobic shit that gets thrown around a little bit. The anti-Asian stuff is really, really harsh.
It's
like,
strong.
It's kind of fucked. It's kind of fucked up. You gotta admit, like,
Yeah.
that's the kind of thing they were doing in like the 80s, and you're like, you're really still doing this. But like, I want to make clear that I don't hold how high to a separate standard than a lot of the other things that were coming out at that time. A lot of comedies were doing plenty of heinous shit like that in the early 2000s. This is before Van Wilder, by the way, which means before we get Van Wilder, The Rise of Taj, where we get Cal Penn. It's like, although the South Asian guy in this movie with the cold sore is a pretty funny scene and very relatable if you were somebody who smokes a lot of weed and people come and try to share with you.
And also,
I'm looking at mouths all the time, people. I'm sorry. We now have the benefit is that I can go through like COVID. I can't be sharing.
That's such a specific joke.
But
I feel like you get into trouble with characters when you make them a generalization of something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then in this case, this was just like a specifically weird character.
Yeah.
Just a character in the thing who
kind of annoying.
Claims to get laid a lot.
Wait, we haven't seen him get laid.
He was there for like 12 years.
Yeah.
He was 12 years at Harvard, and he's like an expert on getting girls at Harvard.
Yeah, super creep.
That's he majored in that, I guess. That's his specialty. But I was also trying to figure out.
We're talking about a 30-year-old here. 12 years?
Yeah, he's a grown man.
Yeah, this 30-year-old who's like freshman girls.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Thumbs down.
Yeah.
But like what a wild character. And then them like this is the best part of like them together is that all the truth is going to come out in every scene. Where they don't just like avoid it and it gets more and more annoying. Dude is just like, you have a fucking giant cold sore in your lip, dog. I'm not passing this to you.
Keep zooming in on it too.
Oh, sorry.
So gross that zoom in.
There's plenty more weed, but you ain't smoking this one.
Yeah. He kept calling Method and Redman funky and fresh.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was the
I love that.
He was like, "What's up, funky and fresh?" And I was like, "Yo, this is ridiculous."
Oh man.
There's a topic that I wanted to close with because there is a disagreement in the ranks with this film. Jeff and I have been having this discussion for a couple days now. And
I had forgotten that this needed to be broached, but
yes,
I'm ready.
I have not we haven't resolved this, so we're gonna kind
Well,
of lay
also
out
neither
something
of
for
us
you.
were making any sense because we were both stoned out of our gourds.
That's sure, but we were having this debate, and we're going to share this with you guys because we wanted you to give us your perspective on this to help us sort of understand where you think this is at. So, Jeff, do you want to start this out, or would you like me to?
Where do the visions come from?
The hallucinations.
And the hallucinations that people keep having, because it's not just Redman. There's a bunch of people who have hallucinations. I feel like
You talking about the ivory hallucinations?
No. So
not the ivory. That's an apparition.
Because he does have his
A
mom's
spirit, sure, but like he has off, like by himself, visions of things. Where they come from, and then sub question: is the elf real?
That's really what we're getting to ultimately.
Elf.
Yo.
Wait, what elf?
The elf in the office.
That's a good ass point. You don't remember when she's like telling them that like you got the best scores in the country. You get you get in any school in the country with these scores, and then he's like, yo, we still high off that ivory? And then the elf pops up nowhere and just walks out.
Right. Is the elf real, or is that but it seems like this is the thing that throws us the hardest, is that everyone kind of tacitly acknowledges the elf. Like everyone hears the noise, I think, and everyone makes an eye at least, or notices the elf. So is that real, or does just everyone shares in the hallucination whether they're high or not?
This is a good question because
that's funny as hell.
Because when he sees
but that could be a connection to like literally Redman shit though. Like that's so weird though.
He has a lot of weird little hallucinations in this film, mostly of his mom.
He does because, but it's a good point too because the dude Bart, he joins in on one of his hallucinations when they're rowing the boat.
That's right.
He's like, who's that woman in the sky?
Yeah.
So yeah, damn, this is crazy. Maybe I don't know where they come from. Maybe they just did it as like to fuck with the viewers, like just
that does sound like this movie.
like just to fuck with people, or just
like, they really fucked with people on this one.
Or maybe like Jamal's just so out of pocket in the movie that like I don't know, maybe he's on the borderline of like
or is it him just literally like just always like that's just him daydreaming?
Thank you.
Okay.
So my perspective is exactly what you two have both come to
like
in this moment.
Space the fuck out, like that happens when you smoke. Sometimes you get spaced out. You're thinking about some whole other shit.
It's just that everyone sees it sometimes. Like when the mom is in the sky, a whole bunch of people at the like watching the boat race are like in the background, you can hear like, what the fuck is that? You see that, right? We all see that, right?
And then Bart makes a comment on that. So that one, I don't know if that's daydream.
This is
these are real. So are all of them are part of the daydream? Like he's just not paying attention to what's going on around him?
Well, that's the only reason why I lean towards the dream where it's like, he's there on autopilot, but his fucking mind is totally somewhere.
But in his mind, so if it's all in his mind, other people are freaking out about seeing a giant version of his mom, which is awesome.
That could be cool. Like he's always bugging out that he thinks other people are bugging out with him.
Yes. That's how fucking far gone he is. You guys have. I love that you guys have come to my theory essentially without me having to lay it out. You have logically
for so long, and if you like, we did it over voice text, and they're all erased. But if you saw a transcript of this, you'd just be like, these two dudes are morons. total dummies. How do they continue to live?
I sat and had this conversation, but my whole point was that there's two kinds of hallucinations in this movie. Is how I break it down. One are the hallucinations that you experience when you smoke the ivory weed specifically. Which is why you get any scene where Ivory shows up after he's died. And then that includes the party when Method Man uses the ivory weed to make the truth serum that he puts into the fireplace that gets everybody high during the party. So any scene where that is a shared hallucination based on smoking or inhaling the ivory.
Yeah.
Every other hallucination in that film is Redman, who may be thinking that other people are experiencing what he's experiencing and seeing what he's seeing. But my argument, my theory is that these are isolated in his fragile, weed destroyed, decimated brain, just trying to figure things out, which is why he dips into these moments of psychosis
Okay.
again throughout the movie. And that's brings me back to the elf. The elf is his mind. He thinks that other people see it in that moment.
That's true.
Okay.
The elf is not an ivory thing.
Anything
It's
about it.
his brain.
So the elf isn't real. There's not like
That's my
a
theory.
real thing happening that triggers a response. This is just straight up, he's just hallucinating.
Yeah, I would agree with that because
Okay.
Method doesn't really like acknowledge the elf or like say anything. He'd be like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Right. But that's what I'm saying. They all sort of tacitly agree, like their elf fell. He knocks over a ladder or whatever just happened, and he's like marching out of the room to go to work.
Like, he literally looked like he hopped out of a drawer.
Yes.
This is what I'm saying is this is a Christmas movie.
That's great.
It's a Christmas movie. Sorry, everybody. It's a Christmas movie.
No. Little things like that, I feel like he could be right about. Like,
Yeah, that's
as well.
crazy. That's
It's like
so
no. Stupid shit like that is funny. Like, because that's like Die Hard. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
But they
in
have
a different sense.
They have more than one part of that movie that's like
Well, I don't know.
Christmas related.
Was How High released around the holidays?
Probably not. That must have been
Or
like
was
a
it
summer
like a
joint.
420 release?
That's a good question.
I have no clue when, like, the exact date. I don't think they were clever enough to do 420 at that point.
I don't think 420 in 2000.
Oh shit! This came out 4 days before Christmas.
Jeff, you might be right here.
It's 2001, December 21st.
You might actually be right on this shit.
That's fucking cool.
See, that's the
Being right is awesome. It beats being wrong every time.
And it's the only Christmas movie that I've ever seen that has Cypress Hill and Onyx music in it.
Yes, I would.
And Cypress Hill in it as another excellent
And
guest.
Cypress Hill in the fucking movie.
The line about the like long weird explanation of why I need money can't come with them.
He's like, there's no room in the limo.
No, and then right at the end, he's like, "There's no room in the limo," and just steals his weed. It's like, all right, so
He's like,
You won't be needing this.
Stage exit, Cypress Hill. That's it for Cypress Hill, folks. It was so good.
Before that, man, that's when he like got on. He's like, "What the hell is the plate for?" And he's like scratching with the plate. I'm like, God damn,
It's gonna be a long night.
Yeah.
There's so much to cover in this film. I feel like we haven't scratched half of it.
There's a good amount of like he was mentioning last night too that there's a lot of 420 Easter eggs in there. Like just like he mentioned at one point where like what was it, the truck driver?
The truck driver that runs over the bike.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed this when I watched it again. He has a hat with weed plant on.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah, so there's like little things like that, or like like when they take the THCs and shit like that.
Yeah, of course. Which is supposed to be the SATs. Oh man. I love it so much.
But he was mentioning that last night. He kept pointing out like there's like little Easter eggs in the background that there's some weed related thing.
This movie has so much to give.
So much. It's a giver. It
gives so much. Like it's chaotic and it's stupid and it's all over the place. But they're just having a good time making this thing.
Yeah.
But you were saying it didn't do that good in the box office.
No, it did decent.
Well, it did all right. But I think it could be because at the time of the release, it's like, this came out, he said it came out 4 days before Christmas. So it's like, I don't think anybody was rushing to the theater to watch that.
Unless just stoners.
Exactly. It's the people going for a walk after Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
This movie is so joke dense, Gary. It's so joke dense. We didn't get to like half of it. We didn't get to the coach.
Nope.
At
Dr.
all.
Elizondo.
His arc in this film is that he's, you know, a rowing coach, right? He hates his team. He hates what's his, I can't remember, Bart. He hates his captain a ton. He meets a stoner and is like, listen, take a cab during the runnings. I don't give a shit what you do. Just make fun of that kid. And then by the end of this thing, he is like fully checked out on his job. Doesn't care anymore that the dean is talking to him, and like won't finish sentences and has on like baggy clothes and just kind of exits the movie.
He's wearing bufu at the end of this.
Yeah, he's wearing a bunch of like really baggy bufu clothes.
No, it's really lovely to see Hector Elizondo playing this part. And it's great. So fucking funny.
Yeah.
To have his scenes and the way that he communicates. He's like, I like the way you made that insult about it. He's just
Dick
like this,
Butkus.
like, Dick Butkus.
Good one on Dick Butkus.
Good one on Dick Butkus. Like, oh my God, it's so funny how he does that. I mean, you know, there's so much that we didn't get to talk about with you know, One Shot Once and Drive By. Great guests, clearly the right people for this movie to talk.
Of course.
With us. But yeah, we didn't talk about a lot of things in this movie. We didn't talk about the fact that Danny DeVito is a producer on this movie.
We didn't talk about it at all. There's so much.
We didn't talk about we didn't talk about the two young ladies who had never done this before.
We didn't talk about
the smart girls gone bad.
In Table Ass, who was credited is in the credits as In Table Ass.
Is actually credited.
Just in case the casual misogyny wasn't enough the first time. We're gonna hit it one more time. In the credits.
One more time.
Oh yeah, those were the Intellectual Twins was their name.
The Intellectual Twins.
The Intellectual Twins.
There is just so much that happens in this stupid little movie.
There's so much.
You can't remember everything. It makes sense, especially if you're smoking every time you watch it. But you can't remember all these things because so much ridiculous shit happens.
There's
like,
a ton.
I forgot about how scatological it gets when the that one roommate is his test subject for the truth serum and just vomits.
The last like 10 or so minutes are like it turns into it takes all of the Farrelly brothers gross out jokes and just crams them in at the end.
So does it.
It just becomes a different film for like 10 minutes. The party scene, that scene is just completely off the rails. They dose a crowd of people with drugs and force them to be different people.
They do, or to be them, to be their true selves. The most uninhibited versions of themselves. But I think if you were going to write a stoner comedy today, I think you really do have to look at How High as a film that crams so much into such a short time frame that it works so well, and it works differently on a different level than say a Half Baked does.
Right.
It's not the same thing as A Grandma's Boy. It deals with these topics in a different way, even though there's some similarities.
There's not another film like. I think there's been an arc in this long flowing conversation we've had this whole show where I continually have claimed not to have seen Grandma's Boy, and that's now false. And I love it, and I've watched it like 6 times.
It's like the best movie.
It is
so
secretly stupid and it's so good.
Not so secretly my favorite movie.
I'm going to watch that one on 422 at some point.
Yeah, you have to.
420 as well, I should say.
It's the Cabbages Podcast Network.